When I was younger, I didn't think saving was very important, especially for emergencies. I always thought, well, my next paycheck will come, so I'm going to have money for it. Never really realizing how important a savings account really is. Today, I want to talk about what savings for an emergency and other types are all about, because it's important to know that savings isn't just for one thing, it's for many things. I'm a big proponent of Dave Ramsey, and I believe that his first step is to save $1,000 emergency. Even if you have debt, before anything you do, save up $1,000. And this is going to help you to navigate the smaller emergencies, not the bigger emergencies, which I have questions about. What happens if a big emergency comes? You use your credit card? That's never really been answered. My wife and I have talked about this a lot, and we just have come to the conclusion that $1,000 for us is not comfortable enough. So we've raised it to $2,500 to start. And that's what was comfortable with us. Yes, we had debt when we started doing this. And yes, we've been out of debt. So we have other things that we save for. But the emergency fund of $1,000 just didn't feel comfortable for us, especially having 3 boys. So that's what we did. So the point of this is, what are you comfortable with? $1,000, if you can get there, that would be awesome. That's something. Beyond that, that's up to you before you move on and pay off your debt. So that's emergency funds. Another type of emergency fund is once you're out of debt. Some people like to save up and have a huge emergency fund before they're out of debt, but I like to be out of debt and then finish savings. Again, Dave Ramsey believes this as well. His baby step 2 is to pay off all your debt. Now, all your debt except your house. It could be cars, credit cards, school payments, loans, things of that nature, personal. And that's what we did. So after that, that takes us back into the emergency fund of how much should you save? 3 to 6 months has been around for decades, is what you should save. But should you save 3 months or should you save 6 months? I guess the question comes down to, well, how big is your family? What kind of expenses do you have? Where do you fall on the income scale? If you make $200,000 a year and your 6 months of expenses is $30,000 versus somebody who makes $50,000 a year and their expenses are $10,000 for 6 months, you can take that into consideration. I think wherever you're comfortable, what kind of health are you in? People who are in good health maybe want to be on that closer end of 3 months to start and then build it up over time. People who are sick may want to have 6 months or use a health savings account, which I know people have used that very successfully. So that's the type for emergency savings. What else type of savings are there? Well, you have short-term and long-term savings. For me, a short-term savings is anything up to about a year, maybe 12 months. This might be you're saving up for a purchase of a new computer, or you're purchasing maybe an inexpensive car for one of your teenage kids, which we've had to do before. Long term would be longer than 12 months. Now that I'm older, in my 50s, and pretty much retired, we don't have a lot of things we save up for, because what we're trying to do is get our house paid down. So we're saving up to get that paid off, paying what we can. We have our emergency fund set up, so we want to get our house paid off. So that's something good. So let's talk for a minute what actually constitutes an emergency. If you are a school student and your computer breaks, is that an emergency? Probably. Doesn't mean you need to get the nicest computer. There's other options you can do. But for people my age, emergency is a little bit different. Might be the car is broken down. You might need something wrong with the house, the air conditioner breaks or the heater breaks, your refrigerator breaks. Yep, that's all emergency stuff. And that's what's really good to have. That would constitute a good emergency. The other big emergency though is, what about for those of you who are still working and you might lose your job in your mid-50s? Losing a job in the 50s is a lot scarier than losing your job in your 20s. You don't have much time to recover. Yes, you can still get a job, but I've been there. In the last 5 years, I've had 5 jobs. It's a good thing I had an emergency saved up to get us through those times. Now, my last job I quit because it was time for me to call it quits on my career. I wanted to change my career. I've been doing it for 25 plus years. And so I decided to go back to school. There's something else we saved up for. Save up to pay for college, for expenses, for books. That's something else that you can save up for. But going back to when you're 55 years old and you lose your job, in my opinion, it takes longer to find a job. Some people may argue that it takes shorter because you've got so much experience. Is ageism real? I don't know. I've applied for a lot of jobs in the past and I didn't get it. Got frustrated. Didn't know how to handle that. But then I realized, well, it's a good thing I have my emergency fund. So let's talk about long-term saving for a little bit. What constitutes long-term savings? Well, there's a couple of big ones in there if you're my age. And that would be one, probably long-term save up for a car that you're replacing. Yes, I don't drive as much as I used to, so my cars last a lot longer. Owning cars was a hobby of mine for many years, so I've been through 40 plus cars. So I've learned through the years that that's a waste of money. So that's a side note. Buy a car that's good quality and stick with it until it dies. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. What else do we save for long term? Well, we save for retirement. In your 50s, you might be thinking, well, I don't have a lot of money saved up for retirement. I can't retire yet. That's okay. It's not too late to start. I started years ago, and I've had to take times where I pause because something in life happened and I couldn't afford to save for it. But you have to be consistent. You have to say, I'm going to start now. And there's things that you're going to give up for your retirement. And that comes back to what are you willing to give up for retirement? For me, eating out a lot, not buying as many cars. Yeah, so there were some things that I had to give up. I love food. That's a side note again. I absolutely love food. So back to long-term investing, long-term savings, long-term emergency. Long-term savings is something that you have to do. I know people right now who didn't save. They have maybe $50,000 to their name and they're on Social Security and they're turning 80 years old. That scares me. What happens if something happens medically to them? What are they going to do? They'll live for a little bit. Now, is it too late to start saving at 80 years old? I don't think so. Start selling things off. Get what you can. It'll be tight for a while, but that's okay. It's good to be alive. So what else is there to talk about for savings? Savings is something that you should probably do at the beginning of your paycheck, not the end. Don't look at your money and say, oh, hey, I make $4,000 a month, pay off all my bills and have nothing left over for savings. Or I have 50 bucks left. Well, I guess if that's what happens, maybe we need to look at your expenses to say, what can we cut back on to have more money for savings? Am I making any points here, or am I just rattling on? Well, I'm trying to get some exercise in at the same time and trying a new format. So leave a comment below what you think. Do you like me in my studio with all my toys behind me or my Legos? Or is this a good change of pace to be out here talking about savings and emergency? Heaven knows that I haven't saved enough, and I still save every month. So it's a It's a muscle you have to get used to. Got to put the reps in. If all you can do is save 20 bucks a month or 20 bucks a week or 20 bucks a day, start saving something, put it away. I'll tell you that mentally you feel a lot better when you have money in the savings account. Something to fall back on. So how do we get that first $1,000 to $2,500 saved up? Whatever you're comfortable with. Well, you're gonna have to start selling some stuff if you don't have the funds for it. Yes, this might even mean selling some of that silver coins you have, which silver right now is super high, and gold. I'm not saying you have a bunch sitting around, but maybe you have old jewelry pieces that you don't wear anymore. Sell off some hobbies that you don't do anymore. Look around, there's gotta be something. And then just save like crazy as fast as you can to get that money in there. I'll tell you, you do sleep better at night when you've got some money in the bank. So let me tell you a story of how not to save for emergencies. When I was in college, I bought a piano for $1,800 or $2,000 on loan because I played piano and I wanted a really nice piano. So I thought, I'll just put it on loan. So I bought it. About 2 weeks later, I needed cash. So I sold the piano for $1,600 cash to someone. Cool, I had some cash. The problem was now I had cash to spend, and cash in a 20-something pocket can go pretty fast. So I spend it all. Not on all emergencies either. So now I had a loan for a piano for about $2,200, but no piano. So that was pretty stupid. So don't do that. One last thing I want to add in here. To a buddy of mine out in Sweden, 80 Ballard. He got me onto this walk and talk, and he does a great job doing it. So shout out to him. He's at 80 Ballard. I'll put a link to his channel below, and he talks about how to grow your YouTube channel. I really appreciate all the help and feedback he's had for us. Whoa, I almost just died in a hole. And I know there's other YouTubers out there that walk and talk. We're not the first and we won't be the last. But it is refreshing to be out here and to just kind of hang out with you and to talk without falling in holes. Get some fresh air and get some exercise. I hope you've enjoyed this walk and talk with me. I'm thinking about doing a series called The Walking Economist, where I'll talk a different one every day. If that's something you think would be kind of cool, just do 7 topics in 7 days. Leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. That really helps my channel grow, and that's kind of what I'm doing out here, is trying to get my channel to grow. When it's 10 degrees outside right now, or something close. It's pretty cold. But I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next walk.